Welcome to ThinkTech Hawaii Business Education Spotlight. This is Alice Li Hagan. This is a weekly conversation with inspiring leaders, educators who contributed to the social and economic well-being of our state. Today joining us is Captain Clifford Bean, Commander of the National Security Agency of Hawaii. Captain, welcome back. It's great to have you. I know you came here for our interview at the end of April. We obviously have a lot more stories to talk about. So let me do a quick intro. Well, you know what? Let me just jump right into it. I guess back at the end of April, when you came with Steve Auerbach, who is the Executive Director from PCAT, and Jody Ito from the University of Hawaii system, we were talking about cybersecurity and the IT workforce development. So at that time, I remember we kind of ended the program by talking about the GenCyber Camp that was recently launched in July, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe I'll play the program and then have you comment on that. How's that?
Okay, sounds great.
Okay. Producer, would you mind rolling the video clip for the GenCyber Camp, please?
Advanced networking technology is taking a lead role in many fields today, from IT to education and more. With the increased use of these technologies, there is a greater need for professionals trained in cybersecurity to protect devices, networks, and data from security breaches.
Virtually every industry, every business will require some kind of IT touch, and therefore will need cybersecurity professionals.
Through the inaugural week-long GenCyber Camp at Honolulu Community College in July 2015, high schoolers from across the state are learning about the principles behind cybersecurity and the importance of cyber problem solving. A teacher camp is running concurrently, providing professional development and support for approximately 30 high school educators from 18 public and private institutions.
Some of the tips and tricks that we're going to teach them throughout this week, hopefully they can take that back and start applying that in their local environments.
As a high school student, I need to understand the vulnerabilities that I have, and especially with our 21st century, we're always using like smartphones and all this technology, so it's important for all of us to understand all of it.
The camp is sponsored by the Pacific Center for Advanced Technology Training, Hawaii State Department of Education, and UH Information Technology Services, in partnership with the National Security Agency and the National Science Foundation. As part of the camp, students also get a chance to explore the growing industry and the opportunities available to those with training in cybersecurity and other IT-related fields.
I'm mostly interested in becoming something in the law field, like maybe the CIA or FBI after high school, and I think that this cybersecurity program would benefit me.
It gives them a sense of how fun this could be as a career field that might, cause them to choose to take a computer science degree here at one of our local universities.
So Captain, tell us about the GenCyber Camp this year. What's your thoughts about it now that you've done it once?
So I thought it was a huge success. Mm-hmm. The credit really goes to Steve Auerbach mm-hmm. and Jody Ito for getting everybody together. Mm-hmm. And also from NSA and Fort Meade, Steve LaFontaine was critical to bringing that to bear here. Mm-hmm. So 60 students, 28 high school teachers, mm-hmm. 1 week-long camp in July. The feedback I got was tremendous from the students, mm-hmm. The teachers, and the parents. Mm-hmm. So we kicked it off, and the governor and the first lady came out and kicked it off. That was awesome, yes. And we were very honored by their presence. Mm-hmm. And then we also wrapped it up at the end of the week and got to have lunch with the students and their parents mm-hmm. and some of the teachers. Mm-hmm. And so I thought it went tremendously well. Mm-hmm. Even some of the teachers were like English teachers or social studies teachers. Oh, wow. But they got a lot out of it because, cybersecurity is a part of our life. Mm-hmm. And so from the English teachers were telling me, from what topics they might choose for papers, they are further, enlightened in that area and ready to get back into the school year. And the social studies teacher was just mm-hmm. intrigued because of how much computers have changed society, and so for her it made sense that she would participate in that. So it was good for technical people as well for non-technical folks. So.
That's fantastic because I know from looking at my son's curriculum, who's in high school, and they always try to encourage interdisciplinary issues or looking at things from different discipline. And I think this is another example to show you that, well, you can't just be only technical or English. It has to be integrated. Now, I know that last time at the end of April during the interview, we did talk about the genesis of GenCyber Camp, but could you tell us or remind the audience again, so how did this idea come about? Is this only specifically here in Hawaii?
No, so the program was started a couple of years ago, and we started small. The first year we did 6 schools, or 6 camps, and then all back on the mainland. And then this year we did 43 in over 18 states. So we were fortunate that we got 2 of those camps here, 2 of the 43, and we were fortunate we were able to get those here because we kind of came in late in the game, and then Jody and Steve really helped us get there. So we're hoping to do 200 next year, and if the funding is there, we intend to. And we are looking at doing 4 here in Hawaii next summer. So. To expand that out. We are considering, but we're not sure if we're going to be able to or not. We are considering looking at going to some of the neighboring islands as well.
That would be great.
But we're still working those details out. So Steve LaFountain's coming back in early October, and we're going to sit down with the university system again and figure out what we want to do next year.
So this is strictly a partnership between NSA and the University of Hawaii systems then?
It is, but also, so our funding comes from the National Science Foundation.
Oh, I see.
And yes, so NSA Hawaii and UH Manoa, but Steve is down at Honolulu Community College, and so really students from all over Hawaii are invited to participate. And I think that we also want to do a teacher camp again next year because the teachers got so much out of it.
Oh, that's great. Now, you did mention some of the feedback that you received from the teachers, but what about from the students? What are some of the things that you remember that's kind of unusual, if there is any?
So I think that they had fun, first of all, which was the intent. The subjects varied day by day around cybersecurity, but the instructors really mixed up how they presented the material. The final exercise was and this was Steve and Jody's idea, but the final exercise was based on the Hunger Games.
Oh,
so
okay,
there were teams competing to get to the final objective.
All right.
And once one of the teams identified what the final objective was, all the other teams had to down their access to the network in order to let the one through to win. And they did, and it was neat. The students self-organized, self-communicated. They weren't coached, and so that was kind of cool. That at the end they had to, they had to cooperate to succeed.
Well, it's always important that I guess how young people learn, it has to be fun and kind of relevant to them. Now, having these camps, I mean, why are we doing so much in terms of trying to get them interested? And I know you mentioned cybersecurity is in our life, but do these youngsters know about, when they come to the camp, are they conscious of the fact that, okay, cybersecurity is a big issue out there?
So I think they're very aware of technology and how it affects their life, and I think they're interested in technology. I don't necessarily know if they come into the camp thinking cybersecurity is a big deal, but I definitely believe they left the camp thinking that your password security, how you operate on your network and other people's. We carry our phone around. There's Wi-Fi everywhere.
Right.
It might not be a great idea just to take that random Wi-Fi access unless you trust the provider. So I think they definitely left the camp with a good understanding of why it's important. I said it the last time, and I believe it absolutely to be true, that cybersecurity is becoming more and more of a commodity that we are going to need to pay attention to, and their competition for talent is extreme. And I believe that as insurance companies start to charge higher rates for companies who don't have powerful cybersecurity programs, that there will be a monetary compelling need to grow that. And in Hawaii, if we don't have the talent here, we're going to pay either higher insurance premiums, or we're going to pay premium for folks to come from the mainland. So it's a compelling reason why we need to grow cybersecurity in the state and grow the capacity of the universities to provide those graduates.
You provide a great summary of why we should focus on talent development and why we should pay attention to cybersecurity. So what are some of the, maybe I should start with challenges in developing a workforce who could help, build or contribute to cybersecurity?
So I think, first of all, is some of these degrees are very technical. Computer science is very technical. And so the choices that students make at the 8th grade level on what type of math they're going to, are they going to go for the harder math or they're going to go for the easier math? Those choices may make them ineligible at the college level, or they have to go back for remedial math courses and science courses to get up to speed to compete for those degrees. So part of this is a K through 12 problem, and getting students interested early in technical degrees. So that we have more folks that can enter the colleges. The second part is making sure that the curriculum at our colleges is robust enough to provide businesses and government graduates that are capable of working here. So we're bringing a visiting professor, NSA is bringing a visiting professor to University of Hawaii at Manoa that will benefit all of the public universities and community colleges in helping to write curricula that is to that higher standard. They have really good programs here at Hawaii, but some of the higher end demand for what we look for is a little bit more challenging. So we didn't just want to ask them to increase their curriculum. We wanted to provide help. And so Steve LaFountain was good, again, at headquarters of giving us that resource for a 3-year period.
Wow, it's amazing. You actually have a plan from K through 12 and beyond in trying to build the workforce for cybersecurity and all these, IT needs. Now, we're coming on our first break, but after the break, I'd like to continue the conversation on some of these challenges, but perhaps more specifically, whether you see challenges more so here in Hawaii compared to the U.S. mainland and perhaps the rest of the world.
Okay.
Wonderful. My guest is Captain Clifford Bean, the commander of the National Security Agency of Hawaii. You're watching ThinkTech Hawaii Business Education Spotlight. We'll be right back after the break.
Hi, I'm Donna Blanchard. I'm the host of Center Stage here on ThinkTech Hawaii. Center Stage airs every Wednesday at 2 o'clock, and of course you can check out our archives on YouTube or on ThinkTech Hawaii anytime you like. Why should you do that? Because this is an arts show that I believe is making a difference in lives. We talk with artists of various ilk. We talk with painters and writers, playwrights, novelists, poets, sculptors, dancers, you name it, directors, actors, of course. And we don't only talk about what people do, but we talk about how they do it. And my favorite part of the conversation, we talk about why they do it. And it's really common on this show to hear people say, wow, I didn't think about it that way. And it's very common to hear people afterwards who have seen the show say the same thing. And I hear all the time that people are inspired by the conversations that we have. So why don't you join us and be inspired too? That's Center Stage on Wednesdays at 2 o'clock. We'll see you Center Stage.
Welcome back to ThinkTech Hawaii Business Education Spotlight. My guest today is Captain Clifford Bean, the commander of the NSA Hawaii. Now, before the break, Captain, we were talking about the success of the GenCyber Camp, and then you started telling us how cybersecurity is becoming a really important issue, and there's a business case for it. Now, some of the challenges, I know that you're building a pipeline so that young people can take the right courses so that eventually they can perhaps move into this career. Now, are there challenges specific to Hawaii then?
So I think that from a challenge perspective, Hawaii is an island, a set of islands, and so that introduces some vulnerabilities because we are, we only have so much infrastructure. HECO is pretty, we have one power company, right? So, so from a critical infrastructure perspective, there are some challenges there in that we're there's not redundancy. Once, we only have so many cable drops to the island and whatnot. So those are challenges, but I see that as an opportunity. We are finite, and so we know that infrastructure and can get our hands around it. If you look at, how many cable drops run into the state of Maryland, I don't know that anyone knows, right? But we have a finite number here, right? So I would turn that challenge into an opportunity and say that coupled with the culture in Hawaii of Ohana, of where we want to help one another, gives us an advantage in this field.
What about the talent side? Are there challenges? I mean, obviously you are putting in a lot of effort and resources in trying to get kids know more about cybersecurity and getting them exposed to this career path. And I know we're going to talk about internship opportunities. So why are you putting so much effort in that?
So I want to be able to hire, and I want to be able to hire local. Our strategy has been to rotate folks out from our headquarters to work here, which is still important because we want folks who have worked in different places in our enterprise. But I think we also want young talent. Young people have new ideas. Young people grew up, so our college graduates grew up in a world where they've always had a computer. And so I want their fresh ideas in this workforce. And so for me, selfishly, I believe it's imperative for the state of Hawaii, but selfishly, I want to be able to hire from that so that I have those young people in our workforce.
No, but that's really exciting because I guess after my last interview with you, I did have a chance to look through some of the internship opportunities. But first thing first, perhaps for those of us who is not as familiar with NSA, we'll play a I think it's a minute and 30-second clip on that will give us an overview of NSA. So producer, could you roll that video clip, please?
Welcome to the National Security Agency, Central Security Service. I'm Admiral Mike Rogers, Commander of U.S. Cyber Command, Director of the National Security Agency, and Chief of its military components, the Central Security Service. On behalf of the men and women of NSA CSS, thank you for your interest in our agency. This is truly an amazing place to work. Our missions are dynamic, and so are our adversaries. The NSA workforce brings together a diverse range of skills and backgrounds to achieve a common goal: to defend our nation and our allies against a wide range of national security issues. From terrorist threats against the homeland to the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. We do this important work with an unwavering commitment to uphold the U.S. Constitution under the oversight of Congress to ensure our accountability to the citizens of our nation. Every day, our personnel develop and use cutting-edge technologies, translate and interpret scores of information, map and analyze networks and systems, and work side by side with customers, ranging from our nation's senior decision makers to troops in harm's way around the world. Working with our partners at U.S. Cyber Command, the Department of Homeland Security, and the Department of Justice, we also provide assistance in defending our nation's critical infrastructure and national security networks to ensure our enemies do not infringe upon our way of life. In a moment, you'll see a video presentation about NSA.
Captain, if I were still a young person, I definitely would work harder on my math. There just seems to be such an incredible, opportunities for young people to get into cybersecurity and even the IT workforce. But tell us about the student internship opportunities then.
Okay, so let me start with high school. We have a high school work-study program for seniors in high school. And so they apply between September and October of their junior year. They must have a GPA of 2.5 or better and have the ability to work 20 hours a week for us. And so there's some prior planning to get to that position in your senior year. But once they do apply, we will process a security clearance for them, a top secret security clearance for them, and bring them into our workforce their senior year for 20 hours a week and give them meaningful work that they, learn about the technology, are better prepared for college or better prepared for their high school experience in technical jobs. And so it's a powerful program. We've done this for a long time at the National Security Agency, but I want to expand that program in Hawaii. I think we're doing 4 this year. I want 13 next year. So that and so we're working with the school system, the Department of Education, to make sure that that information is available to students who can plan for that and then apply for it. We also have something called the Stokes Scholarship. Which is available to, for high school seniors to apply for a scholarship, and it pays up to $30,000 a year for a select number of applicants to go to college.
Wow.
And so I think that's a powerful opportunity, and I want to make sure all the schools here have that information.
Can I go back and ask
Sure.
you about the high school opportunity? So you said you have 4 right now, is that correct?
That's correct.
So what are they like, and was it very competitive to get into these 4 positions?
I can't recall off the top of my head how many applicants we had for those 4. Typically, we try and get about 3 times the number of applicants that we have positions. That way, we can make sure they can get the clearance and all of that. And so I don't know the answer to how many applied for this year, but we will be looking to get about 40 applicants at a minimum next year in order to fill those 13 positions.
So what do you look for in a candidate? What does a successful candidate look like?
So one, that they have a clean record, that they haven't gotten in trouble with drugs, or they haven't been in trouble with the law, or haven't downloaded illegal software or illegal music, right?
Okay.
And so they're screening them for, can we trust this person with our nation's secrets? And so it is also a good news story because we want the educators in the state to use that as an excuse to get children to behave, right? So we want to put the word out there that you need to keep your nose clean if you want to work for the United States government.
Right.
And so our high school teachers have really that we've had out at the site have really they've embraced that message of that's a great message to take back. And then we're looking for technical degrees once we're moving into hiring folks. A lot of the work is computer science related, and so we need those technical degrees.
Now, obviously, this is still fairly new here in Hawaii, but you said that on the U.S. mainland, it's a pretty popular program. Have you heard any, feedback or stories from these interns then?
So we have been doing this for math as a National Security Agency we've been around 63 years. So we had a lot of outreach K through 12 programs, as well as we worked with the University of Maryland and other universities on their curricula to grow the skills at perhaps a little bit higher level than other math programs, so that we could hire from them. So we've been doing it for a long time for math. Cyber is a relatively new thing, and so it's been in our lives for a decade or so, but we're just now expanding that. And so that is the cyber camp. GenCyber Camp is only 2 years old, but we've been working with universities on the mainland for some time to grow that capacity. I just came out here from our headquarters, and so I was familiar with all that we were doing there and saw the opportunity to do that here. And so that's why we're so nascent in our approach on the island here in Oahu, but I want to grow it and get enough momentum behind it so that it is something that we always do, K through 12 and with the university system.
Yeah, no, that would be fantastic because when I talk to some of the school counselors at my son's high school, they're always looking for these opportunities to share with the high school students, because they all think that they should be exposing these students to all these different career opportunities. But now you mentioned the high school opportunity and then the scholarship. Do you do anything for what about for college kids? What do you do for them?
So our current programs are based on students at the at the beginning of their junior year, between September and October, applying to come work for us for the summer between their junior and senior year. And so it's very similar to high school work study. We go through the clearance process for 9 months to get them cleared. We want about three times the number of applicants. And so on 26 September, we're holding a fair at University of Hawaii for all of the universities here for students to come hear about those programs, and then we'll have recruiters there that can help walk them through the online application process. And again, I want about, so we did 6 this summer, 6 interns this summer. We had done 0 in the past. So we got 6 through this summer, and I want 24 next summer. So we're going to be looking for about 75 or better applicants to screen through and get those 24
That's
interns.
an ambitious goal, but before we go on our second break, Captain, could you let the audience know again? So it's on, when are you doing the, I guess, the information session at the university?
It is going to be 26 September at University of Hawaii at Manoa.
Okay, well, wonderful. Now, when we come back from the break, I guess I'd like to ask you a little bit more about the other, I guess, the internship opportunities and some of the career outlook for these, I guess, alumni or interns. So,
Okay, will do.
My guest today is Captain Clifford Bean from the National Security Agency of Hawaii. You've been watching ThinkTech Hawaii Business Education Spotlight. We'll be right back after the break.
Hi, I'm your host on ThinkTech Asia, Bill Sharp. I look forward to you joining us each Monday between 4 and 5 o'clock when we film right here in our studio in downtown Honolulu. The show, ThinkTech Asia, focuses on contemporary events in Asia. And by Asia, we mean anything from Hawaii, south to Australia and New Zealand, west to Pakistan, and as far north as the Russian Far East. Clearly, this is one of the most economically dynamic centers of the world. And we bring you up to date on what's going on in a whole host of countries in this very vital region. We look forward to seeing you. Aloha.
Welcome back to ThinkTech Hawaii Business Education Spotlight. My name is Alice Li Hagan. Today my guest is the Commander of National Security Agency of Hawaii, Captain Clifford Bean. So Captain, we've talked a lot about how NSA is trying to develop I guess, younger people to come into IT workforce, whether it be in cybersecurity or, I guess, other IT-related focus. Now, you were mentioning that, the college opportunities. There will be an information session at UH Manoa on September 26th for those interested in working as interns at NSA. So any other exciting things that may be coming up?
Absolutely. So we've also partnered with the Hawaii Business Roundtable and the university system on an event on 23 and 24 September called the Hawaii Innovation Initiative Forum, and its focus is going to be on energy and cybersecurity. So we're bringing out numerous folks from our headquarters that do technical transfer with small businesses to present information, and there will be several panels. I'm going to sit a panel on critical infrastructure and security. And so we're looking to get small business and other business interest here to participate in that event and show some of the things that we have available that we, at an unclassified level, can give to companies to help secure their networks.
Wow, that's great. So is this the first time that you're doing a forum like that?
Here in Hawaii, we've done numerous events on the mainland, but it's the first time that I am aware of that NSA Hawaii has participated in a forum with the Hawaii Business Roundtable.
Okay, well, I guess we're always catching up, but it's good to have it. I came across this actually looking through the, I guess, research website at the university. So I presume I think he is Dr. Sermos, Vasilis Sermos is involved in that, right?
Absolutely. Okay. Quite a bit of the faculty are involved, and he's going to sit some of the panels as well, Vasilis is.
So how many participants are you anticipating, do you know?
I don't know what our max capacity is.
But it's at the convention center.
It's at the convention center, so we're going to try and fill it up.
Okay, wonderful. I'll try to find a way to attend too. Now, obviously, there are a lot of things going on, and Hawaii, we're always catching up with a lot of the different things that's happening on the U.S. mainland first. But you create all these internship opportunities. So what is the outlook, career outlook for all these young people? If a young person, a teenager, were to come up to you and say, well, why should I get into IT and get into cybersecurity, what would you say to them?
So I think it's our future. If you look at the top 10 sought after jobs in 2013, did not exist in 2004, right? And they're very much cybersecurity related. So our medical, our banking, all that we do is online. And we have got to shore that up. And so I think that demand signal is going to be there, not necessarily just for the government, but just to hire on with companies that do cybersecurity for a living. In all of our businesses, I can't think of a single industry that doesn't rely on the internet. And so I think the opportunity is huge. From an NSA perspective, we have good jobs here on the island of Oahu and would love to hire local. But we also have over 20 campuses around the world. We're a global enterprise. And so there's an opportunity if those folks want to travel and see, other parts of the United States or other parts of the world, that they can do that too. And if they want to, we're not the only employer. FBI is here on the island. FBI is worried about malware and doing malware analysis, and they need to hire talent too. Paycom is building a huge data center here to support their operations, and they're going to need talent. So on island, there are numerous agencies, if someone wants to work for the government, to work for it. But I believe that the demand is going to grow so that there's going to be companies out there, Hawaiian companies that are looking to hire computer science graduates.
Right. That's a question that I was going to ask you earlier on. So you seem to have a specific strategy in terms of developing the IT workforce here. So is there an overarching goal for NSA and then you just kind of adapt it for the local market? How does that work?
So I think that it's more of an imperative for me than it might be on the mainland. Because Hawaii is so far away from the mainland. And so you either have to convince folks to move from the mainland to Hawaii, which that could be, it's similarly, if you grew up in Hawaii, the idea of moving somewhere else may be traumatic a thought to you. So for me, it's more of an imperative here because we need to hire local.
Now, I know that you've spoken quite a bit about your partnership with UH Systems, and we're really fortunate that we could have the partnership with NSA. The Hawaii Business Roundtable, how did that all happen?
I don't know. We met Gary Kai. We just in the whole outreach with the university, and then with the Department of Education, and then with other people that are just interested in growing STEM in the state. It was recommended that we meet with him, and they approached us. Initially they approached us about would we participate in a high school teacher shadow program, and so I thought about it. All of our work is classified, so I couldn't really just have folks shadow. So we asked, well, what if we did a 3-day unclassified session? Would that be good? And so we ended up doing that for 12 high school teachers. They came up to our place up in Wahiawa for 3 days, and we talked about leading in a technical environment. We talked about what their students needed to know about coming to work for us. And so they really got a lot out of it, but we did too. We really enjoyed it. And I had lunch with them, a working lunch the last day, and all of them were energized by it. So we're going to do more and more of that. So I think that's kind of how we got involved with the Hawaii Business Roundtable. And then we had this idea to do this forum and participate, and we'll do more.
Wow, that's amazing. So are there other, perhaps, partnerships that you are interested in developing and fostering?
Paycom is doing a lot for this subject as well, and so in the near term, I want to reach out and make sure that all that we're doing, they understand, and that we can complement one another. I've also met with the head of the FBI here on island, and they have similar outreach efforts, and we just want to partner with one another and complement one another. So I think near term, I think there's a need for government partnering on how we do this. And then I don't know that we could plug in any better with the Department of Education than we already are. I'm very pleased with how far we've come in such a short amount of time.
That's a good story to share. Do you know if all the other NSA agencies on the mainland are doing that much outreach and developing
Absolutely.
partnerships?
So our headquarters, as I said, has always done this. We are looking to do this at every geographic location that we have, that we use that as a hub to do outreach. And you know, so we've got great programs to do the education piece, the K through 12 piece, and the internship piece.
Right.
But also the tech transfer folks, the technical transfer folks. We do that, but we have an opportunity to integrate all of those efforts in Hawaii. So, you know, it's not necessarily one organization working with education, another organization working with the small businesses, but we can do that as one thought.
You mentioned technical transfer. So what is that all about, and how are you involved in it?
So we employ over 1,000 PhDs at NSA as an enterprise. We are the largest employer of mathematicians in the United States. So we have a huge amount of talent. Those people are thinkers, and so we create patents on new technology, and we'll patent something because we believe that, you know, it is important to the security of our networks or other ideas. We are willing to share that with in many cases with small businesses that will take it and run with it and provide a commercial solution that is not just good for the government, but allows that to be purchased in industry. And so we have a long-standing program to do that. That organization that does that for NSA back at Fort Meade is coming here for that event on September 23rd and 24th, so that Hawaii businesses can benefit from that work.
Wow, I'm so glad you brought that up. I hope that you will have very good participation in that forum. Two other questions before we end our interview. One is a more personal question. Now, I know that you're a native from Florida, and then you did construction science or something?
Yes.
And then you studied cryptology in DC. So how did you end up being in this line of work?
So in the Navy, we have a complete officer community. And when I joined, it was called cryptology, special duty for cryptology. We changed it about a decade after I was in to special duty for information warfare. Because as warfare became more informationalized, we saw a need to shift. So I came in with a building construction degree, Bachelor of Science in Building Construction at the University of Florida. I really had no intentions of staying in the Navy more than 4 years to pay back for that degree. And my dad is a contractor. He builds houses. So I was intending to go build houses. I fell in love with this business. And it was so intrigued by the technology and from what we did for the nation. And I decided I would stay as long as it was fun. And it's still fun.
I guess it must be fun. And then when I first read your bio, I said, oh, it reminds me so much of that movie, Beautiful Mind, but that's a very old movie.
Well, it's far from true.
Really? Okay. No, I won't ask your opinion about that. I don't want to spoil the magic. But now the last question is, if there are and I know that you mentioned the imperative of trying to grow the local workforce. So there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. So I guess if you can share your wish list of what are some of the other things, and perhaps what the community, parents, the schools, the businesses could help, what would they be?
So this has to be a private-public partnership. Securing our nation's networks, to me, is an imperative. We have to do it. There are adversaries trying to gain, either stealing our intellectual property and building things cheaper than we can build them and then selling them back to us so that businesses go out of business. That's one aspect. But there are threats to our medical records and threats to our banking, and I just see that as growing. There aren't many countries that could threaten us as a nation. We're a pretty powerful nation. But in cyber, they can, and they don't have to have a large military or spend a lot of money to threaten us in cyber. So I think it's critical, but we need industry to secure their networks too. I need HECO to be very strong in network security, as well as our banks, and in a catastrophe, our ability to respond. All of us, especially in Hawaii, rely on the same critical infrastructure. Right. And so we as a community should understand that the world is changing, and that the security of our networks is important to each of us. And so growing the capacity to do that, whether in industry or for government, is the right thing to do for future generations of Americans.
Wow, thank you, Captain Bean. So let me recap. So the 2 upcoming events. So you have the information session for students who are interested in internship opportunities at NSA Hawaii, would be on September 26th at UH Manoa. And then the second thing, which is the Innovation Forum, I'll let you.
So that is on the
again.
23rd and 24th of September at the Hawaii Convention Center. And it's the Innovation Forum, Hawaii Innovation Forum for Energy and Cybersecurity.
That's
so we're going to have folks from the energy sector, researchers from UH, and then partners with industry in those same fields. And then we're going to be there. Paycom will be there, and a lot of folks that have expertise in both the energy side and the cybersecurity side.
That would be great. I'm sure it's going to be an amazing event. Thank you so much for being my guest today, Captain Bean, and thank you for your service to the country.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. You've been watching ThinkTech Hawaii Business Education Spotlight. My name is Alice Li Hagan, and my guest today is Captain Clifford Bean, the commander of NSA Hawaii. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back next week.